This is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now, some of you would have seen this video here, or these videos, Mars Crash Craft, and also this video back here, Mars June. Now, we're looking in the same area as these videos covered, and it's an area called Melas Chasma, which translate as Apple's Chasm, okay? And I've got 3 Gigapans, or satellite images here, and they're all of the same area, but this one here, the first one, is a bit darker. This was taken on a different day to these 2 here. Now this one's a bit darker, but this one's really bright. All of the same area, but not necessarily on the same day. So the light conditions have changed a bit, and we can see certain things better in one and not so good in the other, and vice versa, depending on what you're looking at, okay? And what we have here, I think, is a tree, or some kind of plant or shrub or bush, you could call it that, I suppose. And here it is. I'll show you the magnifier first. It's just here. We've got branches with bright leaves or flowers on them, okay? In a sort of bunch there. It's a bit like a sort of willow or something like that. It's really weird. And it's quite large. It's about 30 meters long, which is pretty long, right? So it's tree-sized. And when you look at this whole area here that I've got, you're going to see loads of weird, bright, stringy-looking, plant-looking objects on the ground. And you can see a bunch of them here. Now, this won't go in that close, but you can see this one. And around it, there's loads of other similar things. And if you click on the link here, in the top, there's a NASA link here at the top. If you click on that there, it will take you to the page and it'll tell you the phase angles we're looking at the ground with. There's loads of these bright things on the ground which look like kind of strings or something. Now, some of these are probably just deposits that are on top of these dunes, but some of them seem to stick up. Now, even in the summer on Mars, it's still very, very cold at night, about -80 in this region, and or -90. But during the day, it's quite warm. It'll get up to like 70 degrees or something, sometimes 80 during the day. What you tend to get, depending on the time of day, is frost on everything. Obviously, at night, everything freezes up, and it takes a while for that to melt. And what we may be seeing with some of this stuff is frost on these plants, because we've got these really bright parts. It's almost like it's lit up, like a Christmas tree almost. It's not, obviously. But if you look around, a lot of this stuff's really bright, and some of this may be frost that's highlighting some of these branches and leaves or flowers or whatever they are. It's really strange. But it does look really cool. It looks a little bit different on this one. It's a slightly different angle and taken on a different day. But you can still see those branches there. But this one here has got the raw image up here. This is what the raw image looks like. It's quite pasty and it's quite bright, which is good. But you can see all these things in here, even in the raw image, you can see that there. It's just a bit pasty. All you need to do is take a clip of it and add contrast and darken it a bit. That's all you've got to do. That's all I do. Just measure it from the back there up to there. It's actually over 30 meters. It's getting on for 40. If you measure it from the base here, that's 38.5. So that's pretty big, right? That's over 100 feet. So this is a tree. It's not a shrub. It's not a small plant. This is large, and there's loads of smaller ones in the area. Like I said, if you follow the links in the description below, you can check all these things out yourself, and you can take your own clips, do what you like. This has got all the things marked on here. There's lots of these bright things on the ground. And here we've got like a whole bunch of stuff along the ground here. Now this may look like it's just kind of sitting on the dunes, but it's actually sticking up. When you zoom in, you can actually see this stuff is sticking up from the ground. Whether these are like weird branches or kind of vines going along here, I'm not sure. I'll show you the magnifier. There's that long string one there. And there's another stringy one here. And there's a whole bunch of this stuff that comes up here. And this is sticking off the ground. You can see shadows down here. But these are very sort of wispy and light. Very strange. And when you start looking around in the ground, you'll see loads of these areas where you've got these patches of really bright coloured, what look like plants or bushes. Some of them are quite low down like this. But that's still like 20 metres high or just under. It just looks small compared to the other stuff around it, right? Because a lot of these weird dunes are really quite high. But you can see these patches everywhere, these patches of bright material sticking up between and on some of these supposed dunes here. And if you go in here, we've got this thing sticking up on the ground with a flower on it, with these other weird bright objects on the ground as well. Now, some of these seem to be sitting on the ground, almost like bits of wreckage. We've got sharp edges on some of these, and maybe related to that crashed craft, which is about a couple of miles from here. There may be something to do with that. But this thing here, we've got this thing sticking up like a little stump with a very bright flower type thing on it, right? It's got a trunk here and a sort of ovoid shaped thing on the top, which is yellow with a white, kind of white edge to it there. There it is. It's got this trunk sticking up, which is quite dark. It's kind of wide here. And then we have this thing on top, and that's quite large, right? It's about 15 metres across. Could it be a fungus or mushroom? Now, in those previous videos, I did say I thought a lot of these things on the ground were sort of fungus and mushrooms and all sorts of weird looking plants. And there's like vines and stuff in the ground that I've shown in this area of Melas Chasma in recent videos. And the more you look at this ground, you will see these things in the ground or on the ground or sticking up. If you look carefully with the magnifier, you can actually see that this stuff is sticking up, right? So these aren't just deposits in the ground or in the sand or whatever. They're sticking up. There's a whole bunch of them here. Very brightly coloured, with less gravity. Things could grow way bigger, get very, very large indeed, because they don't have the issue of weight that we have on Earth. When these pictures were taken from the satellite, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, they're at a nice angle, which means we're seeing height. We're not just looking straight down, okay? They've got a nice phase angle. So we're seeing stuff on the ground almost like we were there. It's great. But this is the largest one I've seen in this area that's clear, and we've got a good angle of it, and we've got a dark background so we can see the detail quite well. Okay, so I was really pleased when I found this the other day. I was like, wow, there's a tree. These are taken on the same day, these two here. And then this one's taken on a different day. Much darker, but really highlighted. These things are bright. They're bright and reflective. And they stand out pretty well. And this is a really good example. So thanks for watching, everybody. Check the links in the description. There'll be links to these 3 Gigapans. Thanks for watching. Clips coming up now.